All right, hello. So this is gonna be just a little unconventional. Again, my sister is not here, but it's not that she's gone or anything. She's just this video is kind of like a my story video. I felt kind of led to do one, not because I wanted to, if I'm gonna be honest, and I didn't want to, not because I was afraid of people hearing my story. Like, I love sharing my story if it brings someone closer to Christ. Like, I love to do that. But I was more afraid of what people would think, I guess, or what people would say. But then over the past 3 days, God's like, listen, when I tell you to do something, you gotta do it because you're just a messenger and it's not about you. And like I tell my friends all the time, like, listen, when God tells you to do something, you do it because it's not about you, and He could use somebody else to do what He asked you to do, but He's asking you to do it because of grace. And I was like, you know what, God, that's okay. Like, I could do that one on one, And God was like, no. And so here I am doing a my story video. Okay, so disclaimer, this might be dark. I mean, it's not really. Like, I don't see it as dark. Granted, some people do, but I don't see it as dark. But anyways, I was born in Haiti, to two beautiful parents. My dad, love the guy, love him. That's literally my best friend, my whole heart. I love my dad. So my dad was a teacher and a lawyer when we were back in Haiti, and my mom was a business owner, a teacher, and several other things. Like, she had a lot going on, but that's how I was raised. I was raised in a pretty, well off family. I had everything that I needed. Like, I had people at my service, I guess you would say. But I had a lot. I had a lot, and I'm very thankful for that. That I had so much and so many people, and great people too. Like, people, my nannies, like people who raised me, and I love them a lot. But that's where I was born, and I was raised there till I was 10. I have two brothers, and I had an older sister. I have a brother that's older than me. He's now 22, and a little brother who's now 14. We're all 4 years apart. Um, but yeah, that's where we grew up. We grew up going to private school, Catholic school. You know, it was great. My dad's also a preacher. I did not mention that. My dad's a pastor, and so I was born into a very established Christian family. Um, but then in 2010, the earthquake happened, and I, oh God, here we go. Okay, I can say, like, me being here is solely by the grace of God. I remember being at school, and my dad, he usually, like, because my parents are so busy, he usually either hires somebody to pick me up or he comes to pick me up, but he comes pretty late. And so he would come around like 4, 5:30. In school would end at 2:30. But the day of the earthquake, like, my dad was like right outside the minute like school ended. He was there. And so my dad picked me up at 2:30, and I went home, and Lord and behold, I mean, hold and behold, I think that's what they say, whatever the term is. um the earthquake happened at 5:30, and my school went down. My friends, some of my best friends, I don't know what happened. Like, still to this day, I don't know if they're dead, if they're alive. um but yeah, and then my dad picked up my mom, my brothers, and we went home, except my mom had a business meeting at her business and she wanted to stay. And my dad was like, like, I have to grade papers, like, I have law cases to review, like, I have a lot of things to do, so I can't come back to pick you up. And my mom was like, okay, like, we'll just reschedule the meeting. And her meeting was at 5:30. What happened? Her business went down. Then we get back home, and like, I love reading as a child. Like, I was really, really shy. Was not as outgoing as I am now, or as social as I am now. Like, I would always have a book at hand. And so my mom had got me this new book, and I love the book. And so the only quiet place in my house was the bathroom. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I had a pretty, big house, but like, there were people at my house all the time. all the damn time. Like, I really couldn't find any quiet time. So I went to my parents' room, to the bathroom in my parents' room. So like I was not trying to see nobody. So I went and I was reading my book. Like, I was sitting on the toilet reading my book, and the earthquake starts happening and the house starts shaking. And I mean, I was scared. Like, I didn't know what to do. I felt like I couldn't scream or hear anything. All I could hear was buildings going down and people screaming. And my older brother and my little brother and my dad and my mom were in the kitchen. And so they were able to run outside because the path to go outside is right near the kitchen. And they were able to run. And I was still inside. And my mom, she told me that, like, she was screaming my name. But I couldn't hear anything. So I ran to my parents' bedroom because, you know, like, that's the safest place. And so that's where I ran. And I hid under the covers, and I was really afraid. But then my older brother, the idiot that I love so much, ran back into the house, without permission, by the way. He ran back into the house and he got me out. So, thank you. And so now I'm, you know, alive by the grace of God and my stupid brother. But anyway, so for I had mentioned that I had an older sister, so we didn't know where she was. We kept calling. We didn't know, like, she didn't pick up. Like, we called her friends. She didn't pick up. She was in nursing school. She was 22. And we waited 2 days, and my mom never lost hope. You know, people kept telling her, like, you might want to prepare yourself. She never lost hope that my sister would come back home. But then my dad went to look for my sister. And my dad came back. I remember it was Thursday night, and my dad came back, and he had a very, you know, depressed look on his face, like, you know, she was gone. And I remember him telling my mom that, you know, I'm so sorry, like, she's gone. And I remember my mom just screaming and screaming and screaming, and I didn't know what to do. Like, I mean, I didn't know what to do. I just hid and I went to my books because that's how I escape. And I just went to my books, and we stayed in Haiti, you know, for a month. And then my parents were like, yeah, no, this is not going to work out. So my dad flew us out here, and it was really hard leaving my dad. I'm not going to lie. First we went to DR because some part of my mom's family is Dominican. And so we went to DR first, and then we came here. And it was really hard leaving my dad. And when we came, we stayed with family for a while, which was great. You know, I had my cousins, but it was still really hard not having my own room, and it was really big change. And yeah, I moved here. Started going to school. It was really hard going to school. Here I had 2 years worth of PTSD. I would go to camp in the summer, and I would be like in cabins, and I would not be able to sleep or wake up screaming because I thought the cabin was gonna crash on top of me. So that was really hard, really, really, really hard to deal with. And then my dad decided to go back and sleep inside the house. Like, he was still in Haiti, and we get a call at like 2 in the morning one day, and they're like, yeah, you're like, he's at the hospital. And we're like, excuse me, like, what? And they're like, yeah, you know, like, he went to sleep inside, and the earthquake happened, or there was another, you know, round, I guess. And my dad ran from his room onto the balcony and jumped off a tree. Like, this man thought he was Tarzan or something. Like, no, you're not, sir. You weren't, no. Okay, this is not the jungle. But anyways, he fell 2 stories high, and this man should have died. He straight up should have died. He broke his pelvis, broke so many bones. Like, he should have died. But then he also told me, as he was falling, he cried out to God and asked him not to leave not to leave us. And, you know, he didn't die. You know, God God hears our prayers. And then in 2011, my mother um my mom got sick. So she had been sick in 2009, and she had cancer. And anyway, she got sick again. And I remember her coming home and telling us, me and my older brother, like, yeah, like, it's back. And I didn't know what it meant, you know, like, I'm like, oh, you know, like, I didn't know what cancer was. Like, even in 2009, like, my parents tried to shelter us from my mom being sick, so she would always go on business trips here. And so I just thought that she went on another business trip, but it turns out she went to get treatment. But in 2011, she told us, and I didn't know what it meant till I saw, you know, like, everything getting worse. And my mom was very energetic, and she was a chef, so she loved cooking, she loved doing like a lot of things, and she couldn't anymore, and she started losing her hair, and started losing her hair, and she just, there's certain things that she just couldn't do anymore. I also forgot to mention my dad ended up coming, like, after his accident. He ended up coming because he couldn't be far away anymore, and especially like my mom getting sick, he just felt like it was his duty as a father to come, and so he did. But yeah, so my mom started getting sick, and things just started going downhill really rapidly. And if I'm gonna be honest, I can't even remember the time, like the beginning stages of her getting sick. I just remember her going from very energetic and very happy and to just in bed all the time and screaming in pain. And I remember my older brother and I, oh god, we were in, I remember she'd go to sleep and her pain meds just weren't working, and she would be crying and, you know, like, screaming in pain. And I was 11, and I would stay up all night and just kind of nurse her back to sleep. And by the time morning hits, like, by the time she slept, I was too tired to go to school, so I would stay home. And it was hard. It was really hard. It was really hard because a lot of the things that I saw my friends doing with their moms, my mom couldn't do with me. Yeah. And in 2012, October 2012, my mom passed away. So I was sleeping 2 feet away, and I remember my dad waking up. I was sleeping next to my grandma, and I remember my dad waking up and calling my grandma, and, you know, like, I instantly woke up, and I woke up to go to the bathroom, and I was walking, like, to the bathroom where it was past her room, and I just saw my grandma sitting there, like, just touching her feet and rubbing her feet, and my dad was just against the dresser, like, not saying anything or not moving. And so I went to my brother. I was like, wake up, like, something's wrong. And he was like, no, nothing's wrong. And I was like, wake up, like, something is wrong. And we woke up and we walked over to my mom and my grandma. She told us that my mom was dead. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, like, she literally was like, yeah, your mom is dead, you know? So I left, I ran, to my neighbor's house, and I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I was scared, and I remember my dad just falling to the ground and crying, and I didn't know what to do, and it was hard, and we called our family, and they ended up coming to take the body, and my dad didn't want us to watch, but I fought my way out, and I saw them put her in like the truck thing, where they take bodies away or something. And I was angry, I'm not gonna lie. I was so mad. Like, I was banging up against the window, like, yelling at her, like, why would you leave me? Like, why would you do that to me? Like, why did you stop fighting? And the day before she passed, she called us and she was like, I can't fight anymore. So for me to be an 11-year-old child watching my mom saying, like, yeah, I can't fight anymore, I was like, no, what do you mean you can't fight? Like, we're gonna fight, like, we're gonna get through this. And my dad had tried to prepare us because he kind of knew the end was coming, and he had tried to prepare us, but I was like, listen, like, I know you're saying this because you have to, but I don't want to hear it. Like, my mom's gonna be fine. Like, God wouldn't do that. Like, no one's gonna take my mom away. Like, this just doesn't happen to me, it happened. So after that, it was, for probably 2 years after that, it was really dark for me. I became very, very, very angry. Like, I would yell at everyone. I didn't want to talk to anyone, like, but all the while trying to put on a face at home. So I couldn't cry. Like, I couldn't cry. I was holding it together for my dad, and my brothers. And what hurt the most was the day she died. I woke up my little brother to tell him, and he started laughing because he thought that I was joking. And I wasn't joking. And I remember him getting so sick he threw up. And yeah, that day was really hard. And the day of the funeral was even harder because, like, the family typically sits up front, and I was not about to. I didn't want to be anywhere near the body. I was like, nope, this is not my mom. Like, I'm here because I have to. This is not my mom. I did not go to the cemetery. I was afraid. I didn't want to see, oh God, and I didn't want to see it. And I'd wish that I had gone, because a lot of the times, not every day, but a lot of the times, I think about wanting to see her, and I don't know where she is. I don't know where she was buried, and my dad knows, but like, why would I want to, like, bring that on him again, like, remind him? So I just don't ask. But anyways, that was really hard. But as I was kind of bottling everything in and holding everything in, not being able to talk to my dad because I didn't want to, because I wanted to protect him, not because he didn't want to talk to me, I found God, which is like the good part of it all, I guess. I found God, and I started seeking God, and when I couldn't cry out to anyone, I would cry out to him, and that's how, like, I started my relationship with God. And then in the upcoming year, I almost lost another parent, and that's one of my biggest fear because of that, losing my dad. But I almost lost my dad. He started working like 3 jobs, and by the way, like, when you move to another country, you're like, your education doesn't transfer. Like, I think high school does, but college doesn't. Like, your education, like, he can't be a lawyer here, he can't be a teacher here, especially, like, he didn't know the language. So he had to work 3 jobs just to provide, and my dad would work like 72-hour shifts. Like, when I tell you guys my dad is strong, he would work 72-hour shifts. And one day he was driving to his night job, and he got into a car accident. He got into a car accident, and my dad almost died. And he had another experience where he felt his spirit leaving his body, and he cried out to God, and he was fine. He came out, like, obviously he was very hurt, but he was okay. And I remember getting the call, like, I was, mind you, like, I was going to bed, I was, you know, praying, you know, like, having my Jesus time, and the phone rings, and I'm like, hello? And his friend's like, yeah, I'm sorry, like, I'm coming to pick you up right now, your dad's been in an accident. Now, I am an emotional person. I ran outside. It was winter, y'all. I ran outside with no shoes on. I was like, listen, lady, like, you better be outside, like, right now. I'm not playing games with you. I need to be at the hospital. So she came, went back to get my shoes, put a coat on, you know, and I went to the hospital. And what was hard about going to the hospital is, first, you know, memories, because I spent like years in the hospital, well, not years, but like a couple of years with my mom. But I went back, and my dad, I remember looking into his eyes, and he's crying, and he's in a lot of pain, and he looks at me, says, I'm doing this for you. Now, that's when I really lost it, because I was like, no, like, listen, I'm not trying to lose another parent. Like, I can't lose another parent. Like, you don't understand. Like, if I lost another parent, if I lose another parent, yeah, God knows, because, yeah, no, I just wasn't about it. And so that was also pretty hard. But in the midst of it all, I found Christ. And I was still kind of angry. I didn't know, I didn't realize that I was still angry until I realized that I found closure, like, moving to Boston. So we lived there. We lived in New York. It's home. I love New York. That's my home. We lived in New York until 2015, and my dad moved us out here to Boston. I don't like Boston. Well, I don't like Milton, but that's besides the point. So my dad moved us out here, and he met my stepmom in 2014, moved us in 2015. They got married in 2015, and I got another sister. You saw her in the previous video. Her name is Chelsea. Apparently 91% of people who voted on Instagram think we look alike. I don't see it, but whatever. So my sister, I met my sister, and, you know, family, blah blah blah, they got married. And that's when I kind of started, you know, like, no, actually, no. I found God in like 2012, like around the time my mom died, well, after she died. And then I got baptized in 2013, and I started preaching in 2013. 2013, that's when I started. Nope, I started preaching 2012. Yeah, because, yes, okay, my dad, like, woke up, prayed over me one time, and I prayed over me one time, and I started preaching. Yep, my gift sprouted, and I've been preaching since I was 11 years old. But fast forward, yep, moved to Boston, and here where it gets crazy. Here's where God just shows up, and he just does things, and I'm like, bless you, bro, like, you're good. But anyways, I love my new family. And then college came. Your girl did not know how she was about to go to college, because my brother, you know, like, my dad struggled to pay for my brother's school. So I was like, I don't know, Jesus, like, I don't know what you're gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, I was even considering the military, and my dad would tell me, like, nope, just pray. And he was like, if that's the route God wants for you, then that's the route you're gonna go. And so I started praying and praying and praying and praying. So I went to visit Gordon College, which is where I'm at right now. Right here. Wait. Right here. Wait. There we go. Right here. Okay, my coordination is just not good. But anyways, I'm wearing a Gordon sweatshirt. So I went to visit Gordon. That was not where I planned to go. I wanted to go to Hofstra or University of Vermont or Penn State. Like, this is where my mind was going. I ended up at a small Christian school in 45 minutes away from Boston with 2,000 undergrads, and yep, that's not what I was aiming for. But I went to visit Gordon in February 2017, and I stepped on campus, and God's like, I want you here. Like, this is where your purpose is going to be found, pretty much. And Didn't know what that meant, but I told my dad, like, I've never felt more secure about anything else. And so I sent in my deposit. I had gotten into Gordon, and Gordon is like 49K. I had gotten $13,000 of scholarship. There was just, how was I gonna go to college? I don't know. But I started praying and praying and praying and praying and praying, and God opened doors. And long story short, sent about 35 or $40,000 worth of scholarship for me, which was super cool. I mean, like, in the span of 2 months, I got a 20,000 4-year, like, annual scholarship. I got like $3,500 from my high school. Like, I got a lot of scholarship, and even had money left over when school started. So, not to brag, but to me, it's just for me to tell you that, like, trust and faith is such a big thing, and it's such, an important thing. And when you trust in God and you just give everything up to Him and you just truly let go, He will take you higher than you've ever imagined. And God took me higher than I'd ever thought I would go. And damn fly. And then it gets crazier, y'all. So moving, like, my, like, paper, like, when we moved from Haiti, like, I think we were on a visa, so, like, we didn't have our green card. So y'all know, financial aid, you need your green card. Didn't know how I was gonna do that. Did not have my green card. And then this is where it gets good. God sent my green card 2 days before the FAFSA was due. FAFSA, damn, FAFSA, financial aid thing that you fill out. FAFSA. There we go. FAFSA. Yeah. He sent it, and I was able to send in my financial aid 2 days before it was due, and your girl basically went to freshman year for free. All on scholarships and financial aid. God is good, guys. Like, I'm not kidding. I cried. And I got to school, like, hearing some of my friends struggle financially, and I'm like, I should be you. Like, I literally should be you. Yet here I am, not you. Like, I am not. And again, that's not to be condescending, or that's not to, brag or anything, but it's to say, like, God, like, did that. He elevated me. And then fast forward to year college. I think I'm leaving a lot of things out, not intentionally, but anyways, fast to first year of college. Yeah, it was not a great year. I mean, no, I'm not gonna say that. It was a great year. I met a lot of people that I love so much. A lot of friends, my best friends, I met at Gordon. So it was a great year. However, spiritually, it was not a great year for me. Spiritually, it went downhill. I'm not gonna lie, it went downhill. I lost myself. I lost sight of what was important. I lost sight of God. I allowed certain things to take a hold of my life. I allowed myself to do certain things that just was not in God's plan for my life. And, it was bad. And considering, like, I'm someone that once I'm with God, I know that I'm with God because I want to be in His presence all the time, like, constantly. And I want to live by the word, and I have such a hunger and a fire and a thirst to just, like, go and serve Him. And so that wasn't there. I lost that freshman year. That just wasn't there. And it got worse because my preaching out the window. Did not preach, did not practice what I preached. Like, I tried, did not completely anyways. I got insecure about my preaching. I started making everything about me, when it comes to God. And I'm like, this is not about you. And, like, I dealt with a lot of, like, repressed feelings about losing my mom. But then this summer, what I was able to learn is that we're all gracefully broken. And I'm not gonna lie, I was hearing the song, and it's by Tasha Combs, I think it is. And she says that God does not break you to hurt you. He does it to promote you. And He does it because He loves you. And He does it because He wants to take you higher than you've ever been. and I started thinking about life events. I can confidently say I would not have found God if my mom hadn't died. Not saying I wanted her to die, but I'm saying I would not have found God. I promise you, I would not have found God. I would not be the God-fearing person that I am. I would not be the faithful person that I am. I would not have found God if it was not for that. I just a lot of things, and it just it's it really like clicked everything for me, because I spent so long like kind of being mad at God, like, why would you do that? Like, I would cry and be like, literally, like, why would you do that? Like, what did I do? And it's like, God did not do this to hurt me. He did it because it would shape out, my purpose. And like, there's one day where I'll see my mom again and it'll be great, and I'll kiss her and rub her feet and like just kiss her belly and all of that stuff. But God did not do it with the intent to hurt me. He did it with the intent of loving me. And this summer as well, a lot of things like came back. I constantly want to be back in God's presence. I hear him. I want to serve him, want to serve his people, and like just like it feels really good to be back to who I was before, or a better version of who I was before. Okay, what's in my eyes? Um anyways, but I just learned to be faithful to God. I learned to love God. I learned to not see like things that have happened to me as, curses or bad things, but to see them as hidden blessings, because God, he blesses in every like every event that you think is, curse or is bad or any of that sort is a blessing. It's literally a hidden blessing, and you won't know it now. And I forget what verse it is, but I think it's in John, but John. Okay, John. Yeah, anyways, and he says that like you may not know what I am doing now, but later you will understand. And that's literally like my life. Like in the moment I never know what he's doing, and I'm like, but now I understand certain things. I understand why he did certain things, and it's been really like beautiful. And like my journey with Christ has been so beautiful, and I've loved every second of it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. He's literally, honestly, the best thing that has ever happened to me. There's such like an unexplainable joy that comes with being his, and there's peace, in the midst of chaos, there's peace. In the midst of darkness, there's light, and I've just been so blessed, guys. And I don't know, all that anger that I had, like, it ain't there no more. Like, I smile all the time. I'm happy all the time. I love people, I'm not like that girl that's like, get away from me, that girl with like hella attitude. I still got a little bit of attitude, but it's okay. It's healthy attitude. But I'm not who I was before, and I don't know what this is gonna do. I don't know how God's gonna use this. But anyway, to end this video, I'm not, this is, I don't know. I've always been like, oh, this is gonna be so cheesy. I don't know how this is gonna turn out. Frankly, I kind of don't care anymore. God's gonna use it how he sees fit. I hope it blesses someone out there. And yeah, also I'm wearing the same sweatshirt as my last video just because it's like the best sweatshirt ever. Granted, I'm like sweating right now, but it was like the first thing I saw, so